The bullshit.
Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast. This is episode 490, the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. We're doing it live. I am your dashing host, Chris. With me is my good friend and co-host, Michael Gray. How you doing, brother?
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Oh, God. No matter how much I want to do this dead. That was tough. That one took some years off my life, and what it didn't, I am working on taking myself. Upside
both,
to this
brother.
background, I don't normally use it, but I am today. You'll notice a bottle missing over my head. It's because it's right here.
Oh man, this was tough. This was tough.
Oh boy, just so many times over and over again, watching the same thing getting hit in the head with the same man coverage brick.
We'll get into that. We'll talk about today's game. We will listen to Coach Campbell's post-game presser. We might get a couple of players as well. We'll hear from them. We'll do a little bit of a roundtable conversation with you, taking your calls live. That and a whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Are you ready to go, Monsignor Gray?
Let's go.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right. Chris, make it all better. That's what we're here for. We got your post-game therapy.
Yeah, hey, that's what this is for right here. Okay.
We're talking to America right now. We have to let Geno Smith know that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so was he, by the way.
I was confident for the most of that game, but boy, things started getting. The defense just got jankier and jankier as things went on. Jerry got torched a lot in the game. I mean, they had him on an island against Metcalf. That's not what you're doing.
No.
I saw Sutton get torched on Metcalf too, right? I mean, it's a Metcalf is good thing. What are you doing with your defense? Not just put a guy on an island and hope for the best. Hope is not a plan.
Yeah, hope is a bad strategy. And watching all that man coverage, it got to the point where even my son, who's 12, was looking at the lineup. He plays football. He's like, are they going to put another guy on 14? He's really big. Like, yeah, he's really fast too. And he jumps really high. And I sure wish there was some help over that way, but there wasn't. So.
Yeah.
Everybody had a day, though. Noah Fant had a day. Like Geno looked like Joe Montana back there. I mean, they didn't get to him again. You know, that's another. Man.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn might have been grumpy 2 days ago with the media because he knew that he was about to have a bad day. I don't know.
God, I hope not. I mean, I really
can't
hope
explain
not.
what we saw.
No, I can't either. It was simply disgusting. Whatever that was. The defense was absolutely terrible out there. Monty, the meat grinder of player injuries really is concerning as well. I'm sure Amon-Ra, he came back in the game. He's rock solid. He'll come back and he'll play even though he's going to be hurt a little. Vaitai, well, there you go. That's that. I don't know what it is. Right. I don't know how bad it is. I just have a feeling because it's Vaitai, and every time he gets dinged up, it's major. I think we've seen the Vaitai experiment come to an end this week. Maybe I hope not. But
big man with a knee injury is a tough one.
Yeah,
I mean, the only one that's worse is a back injury. You know, and he's had that too. Mm-hmm. So that was tough to watch. And yeah, we took turns. We got to see Aleem leave the field injured, Kirby leave the field injured, Saint leave the field injured, Demo went off on a cart, Aiden had to take some time off. You saw CJ leave the field right after he took the mind-numbingly dumb penalty. Like they made too many mistakes. I mean, over and over and over again. And I think all of us, certainly me, I won't speak for all of us, certainly me, I thought they were going to overcome these mistakes because they've started to do that. We've seen them overcome mistakes. But the turnovers, thank God nobody has to ask Jared Goff about his interception streak anymore. That's dead and buried. Went ahead and just threw that pick six and got that over with. Fumbles.
I don't know if I jinxed it, but I told my wife at the start of that series, I'm like, this is the one where Goff ruins that interception streak. They threw the the numbers off. It was
Why?
like 381. I'm like, they just ruined it. They just did the foreshadowing. I just knew
Why would
it.
you speak that into existence?
I knew it was going to happen the second I saw
What are you doing?
the current count
Okay,
come up
but
on
you
the
can
screen.
know it. You don't have to say it.
I knew it. It's
What's wrong with you?
But I didn't make it happen. I'm wearing a freaking Champions shirt.
He was wearing a jersey. Your clothes don't matter.
Either do my words. Either do my words. Oh man.
I don't know. Until further notice, I'm holding you accountable for that one. Send your hate mail to.
Let's actually be besides me. We'll say beside me. Who if you were to put one person in for accountability for this loss, where would it be? Where would you place that?
Aaron Glenn. I mean, Pete Carroll had his number. Pete Carroll, from the opening drive, Pete Carroll knew exactly what to do to just eat this defense alive, like nothing, like last year. I mean, it was like, or the year before. This is 3 years in a row now. Seattle just rolls into town and, rolls up the score. They look like the Big 12. I mean, It was brutal. So, yeah, Aaron Glenn's defensive plan needs to work.
Yeah, 100%. And look, so I will say, we're just going to get this out of the way right now. The refs were absolutely allergic to fucking holding. That was an absolute disaster. So it was as bad as the pre-snap movement last week and the lineup as a punter last week of the right tackle. Is egregiously bad. How often holding? I mean, they showed it and called it on the last play. That wasn't even the most egregious. That was just like, that's just a normal play. The left tackle, if he didn't have a fistful of jersey or a headlock going on, they were on the bench and the defense was on the field. It was terrible. It's not why we lost. Not blaming the refs, but God, it gets fucking old just watching these plays happen and happen and happen. And that's one of the reasons I think we didn't get pressure all day long. They had the extra leverage on us all day. Now that's not it. The defensive line didn't play up to par. The snuff par, whatever. Maybe they need a puff after the game. But they just didn't have it. They could not do it, and it was frustrating, maddening. And then you just add that extra layer of BS on top, and that just gets you. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Screw the refs. Always, you got to play past them. You got to play through them because they're obviously going to screw something up every freaking game.
Well, and the cruel joke is, and I said this a week. You can go into my Twitter feed. I have receipts. I said the beneficiary of all of the missed calls in Kansas City would benefit who? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Mm-hmm. And what happened today? Jawan Taylor got benched because he got flagged 4 times in Jacksonville. Guess what? They're going to be watching the Seahawks offensive line next week. And somebody's going to get called for holding because they're going to review this tape and they're going to see people holding Aiden like he's a newborn baby in the nursery. And it'll be whoever Seattle plays next week. And they'll be like, all right, you can't do that. I don't know why the Lions have to be the how not to lesson for the officials, but there's going to be some of that. They will be studying it, I promise, because the Lions are going to file a letter and then the refs will say what they say. And by the way, I don't want to say it's unequivocal because that intentional grounding call on Seattle, where they ran the wrong route. Oof. Like, what was that? Yeah. Now, on the other hand, you get Kirby Joseph gets grabbed by the face mask and DK Metcalf drags him into his own body and somehow that offsets.
That was the whole game was goofy. Bad. Yeah, that was
the whole game was goofy.
I don't know. I mean, and again, we could go about it all day long. You could rip on the refs all game long, but it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to beat them.
Yeah, well, and a bad call doesn't cover a tight end or a crossing route for JSN or all of the times that the backs were open and had, could catch the ball and then had 6 yards before the next defender. Yep. Aaron Glenn's coverage scheme was a mess today. Yep. It was bad. Yep. I mean, it was just bad.
I wish if we could do anything with AI or bots or anything, replace the refs. Just make it consistent, right? Like consistent across games and across weeks. That's all I care about. If they're always going to miss holding or they're always going to let the right tackle line up as a punter, okay, just let it always happen. We'll just play and scheme around that, right? But when you change it from week to week, you put this kind of, I know they love to do it. They do it in video games now, and it's one of the things that's ruined so many of the first person shooters for me, where it's they like to balance and level things and give people who otherwise wouldn't have an advantage against people that were otherwise better, to make them feel better about themselves and pay more on the stupid crappy microtransactions. But that it's that element of chaos and the element of randomness that they throw in there. It's exactly what it feels like the refs are doing. It feels the same way. It's just, we'll just put a little bit of randomness in there to mix it up so we have any given Sunday every Sunday. Anyway, okay. So
well,
they
got their money's worth out of the randomness with this one, with it going to overtime. I mean, I'm even getting text right now from my mother-in-law who's saying, wait a minute, so a coin flip just decides the game? I'm like, well, no, you're allowed to play defense. I mean, you wouldn't know it by watching Detroit today, but you're allowed. It's allowed. You can do it.
Yeah.
I put that on my Twitter feed in the first half. I'm like, passing defense is a social construct, because Seattle couldn't stop anything either. Yeah. Jared Goff had himself a nice day.
The egregiously open Seahawks receivers every play. It was Metcalf a lot, but every play there was just somebody wide open, and it's like, what in the hell are we doing, Aaron Glenn? I think there's going to be. I have a feeling Aaron Glenn might be on the podium today, and if he's not, I think that means something. To be honest with you.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm just looking at the list right here. DK had 6 catches. Tyler Lockett had 8. Noah Fant had 4. Colby Parkinson had 2. Disley had 3. JSN had 5. Charbonnet had 2. Kenneth Walker had 1. And Jake Bobo had 1. He was throwing the ball to everybody.
Yeah.
So a lot to go around on his way to, 32 of 41 for 328 and a pair of tuds. I mean, it's. He had it all day, and Geno's that's what we said all week. It's what I put, in my stupid pregame wish list. I'm like, you can't let Geno sit back there. Luckily, they've got 2 U-Haul rentals at tackle, so there should have been some pass rush. And well, I guess not.
No. This is .75. Good comment here. Got to go for a TD at the end there. Very shockingly conservative by Campbell. I was absolutely in agreement with that. We went on it on 4th down every freaking time, it seemed like. Wouldn't pull out Patterson for the life of us. And then we said, you know what? Let's leave it up to a toss of a coin at the end here. Hate that call. I think we should have really once it's 4th down, you got to kick it. But I didn't like the calls leading up to that last 4th down. I thought there was a lot we could have done a lot better to get that first down and keep pushing towards the end zone. We were, 23 yards away? I don't like what we did there at all.
And leaning into the armchair head coach energy, the first 4th down when you were in field goal range in the first half, take the points.
Yeah.
Go up 10-7.
Yeah.
If you're up 10-7, guess what? It doesn't go to overtime because you got the extra 3 instead of missing out. Because and I think Seahawks fans probably will be sending thank you notes to Republic Drive there in Allen Park, because Pete Carroll never goes for it on 4th down. Seahawks fans have been up in arms about that for years.
Yep.
The fact that he's always punting. Well, what did he do? He knew he was up against a guy who was just going to go for it all the time, so he had to a couple times, and he converted.
Yeah.
He
may have learned something there. When he was going for it, and Olsen was talking about it, you just got to. You can't let the other team keep doing it. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
If you think about the Hard Knocks speech from Dan Campbell, we were going to pull him out into the abyss. We're going to pull him out into the depths, and then you drowned him. Well, we forgot how to swim. We got out to the depths, and we forgot how to fucking swim. Lions. All right.
Well, and Pete Carroll lives for that too, man. He's not averse to pressure. Pete loves those big moments. He's not, he's 90 years old. He's been around a minute, so he's seen all the things.
Taylor should have been ejected, right? This is one thing about Pete Carroll's teams. I will never, since Tyron Walker and the broken leg, that cheap ass cut block. I've always hated Pete Carroll and I don't care about USC, but what he did there, where he destroyed the program and then he ran away and got hired off into the NFL and left the disaster that he made for everyone else to clean up. And then he went to Seattle and he built a good team and he was a good coach and everything. But I just always felt that they were shit biscuits. I just felt like they were dirty pieces of shit. I always did. And it was because of him. But like the Tyron Walker one, that one pissed me off. I still will not forgive Pete Carroll or his defense or anybody on that team to this day for what they did to that kid, because that kid deserved better. That was the cheapest bullshit thing. And then you see it, I just every time, like, you get a guy down, he's almost in something, the second man comes in, wham, shot to the face, shot to the upper body. Just really look like they're trying to fucking take people out. It's almost like Bounty Gate I know it's not. I'm sure it's not, but it just looks like it, man. They play.
No.
It feels just short of dirty.
Well, I mean, ask yourself, what if somebody had 3 or 4 full steps and then hit Aaron Rodgers or
we
Patrick
saw it
Mahomes
today
or Justin Herbert? Like, what happens then? Like he'd have been gone.
We saw it in Jared Goff. Oh. It's so bad. Why is he there? And then he's taunting him afterwards. That's an ejection. Remember, that's an ejection. Yeah. No, not here.
Well, it should have been an extra 15 for sure. And I know if you go back and watch the tape on that, watch Sewell. He was lobbying. He's up there pointing. This guy's doing something, and this guy's doing something, and that guy over there is doing something.
Yeah. It's tough. You got to play.
None of that covers a shallow crosser. Like none of it does. No. So, and
you still got to play.
Until they
can
do that, a lot of this doesn't matter. So,
yep. You gotta play the game. All right, let me throw the phone number out there for folks to let you get in. Latvia Lion. Are we going to talk about the no holding call? That was just one of so many, and that one was one of the least egregious of all of them. It's just another one at that point. They've stacked them up. So, all right, let's get the number out there: 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384 for you Skyping. You can go all one word, Detroit Lions podcast. We'll get you on the show. We'll let you bring in what you want. Michelle Cox very astutely says, no hymns this game. No. Although,
nope.
No hymns. Nope. I was like, I thought there was one guy. No. Anzalone, anal zone. We had a highway to the anal zone. He looked good there at the end, and anal zone never. Yeah. Oh, he had a couple missed tackles too, where his arms on him.
He had he had a couple in the first half too. He had a couple of moments where I was like, ugh. Yeah. No hymns. I mean, everybody that had something going where you're like, all right, Goff is playing good. He has the pick 6. Demo's going good. He has the fumble. Then he gets hurt.
Yep.
Gibbs. Like, I don't know how many more weeks we go before people start really freaking out about Gibbs and just exactly what he's ready for, because it certainly looks like, and I'm just speculating here, so don't write any of this down, but it certainly looks like David Montgomery is going to be out a while.
Yeah.
And that means you're down to Craig Reynolds and Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jahmyr Gibbs is missing on pass pro, and everything is a stretch around the corner that can't find home, and the runs up the middle aren't there. At one point, I think he was averaging 1.8 yards a carry. He had the one drop that, I mean, if he catches that thing in stride the way it was thrown, that one may end up in the other end zone, because I don't know that anybody catches him. But we keep talking about Gibbs. He's a lot like the starting 5 on the offensive line. He's a theory as opposed to a scientific law, because we never actually see it. And now with Vaitai out likely for some time, we won't ever. We got one game with the starting 5 on the O-line, so.
Caller, are you there? You with us, brother?
Yeah, Cody from Grand Rapids here.
How you doing, Tony?
Good, man. Good. Just want to quick say and let y'all riff on this. AG, we saw these guys step up late last year, which was great, but his actual in-game defensive scheme adjustments, I've yet to see and be impressed by. What did you guys see today from AG? Again, thanks for the work, and looking forward to seeing y'all continue this.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate you. What did you see from AG today? As far as adjustments, I mean, I could say I didn't.
Today it went backwards because Kansas City, everybody, like, if you went around the national media heading into the Kansas City game, everybody was saying Detroit is going to try to play man against Patrick Mahomes and they're going to get eaten alive. And then they didn't. They played a bunch of zone. And he broke all tendencies. And he played all of this zone. And stop me if I'm crazy here, Kansas City can't hold a candle to what Seattle rolls out from the wide receiver room. Right? I mean, those starting 3 wide receivers, if you're talking about Lockett, DK, and JSN, you put those guys with Patrick Mahomes and forget it. So you come out with this game and we're right back to man. I mean, it was like watching us go back in time. I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. I don't know why he had Jerry on those islands. you get the sense that like, okay, that was supposed to be Mosley, but you don't think that DK Metcalf could dog walk Mosley? Because I promise you he can.
Yep.
He's done it to everybody.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. He had the defender, when you're playing man, everybody's got their back to the quarterback, and then the pass rush doesn't get home. And he never changed it. He never changed it. He came out at half, and they kept running those man coverages, and everybody's got their back to the quarterback, and Geno's just going to find the guy because he wasn't getting hit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think if I had to harbor a guess, Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn are having a meeting about what that was all about. I'm gonna guess it gets heated.
Yeah, I think so too. That's why I think, and this is a good one, Don H. or Lee. Sorry, if you're 0-3 in the turnover margin, you're done. You're cooked. For sure.
True.
For sure. That'll do it. That'll do it every time. Yep. And you're right. The adjustments weren't there. The Lions could not pull it off for some reason. Any of the adjustments they needed to make this a. Oh shit! We got Dan Campbell on. Let's get Dan going right now here.
He threw the heck out of it, and he was in it, and I was really proud of the way he played. There was a number of guys I was proud of the way they played. It's just we made the critical errors in this game when you can't do that, and that'll get you beat every time.
When Goff was on target like that, you had a lot of creative plays. The crowd was going bonkers. You were moving up and down. Did you feel like it was going to happen, or does that team just scare you in those situations?
What do you mean when you say?
Well, it looked like you guys were moving the ball almost at will.
Mm-hmm.
They always bounce right back.
Yeah, no, it didn't. That didn't scare me. It's just we had our opportunities there again. Man, take the turnovers away. All of a sudden, man, we're in control of that game like we should be. But ultimately, you know what? They got the ball out. We didn't, and we put a tremendous amount of stress on our defense. When you do that, and we did. We had some, man. We had some really good opportunities that we just didn't capitalize from. And look, I know it stings, and those guys are disappointed. I'm disappointed. The staff is, but my gosh, man, this is good. We'll get a little humble pie here, and we got a real good opponent coming in next week.
Yeah.
And
beat Green Bay.
They run it as good, if not better, than those guys, and they have better weapons, just all around. So.
Speak of Goff, but another person that really came up had to be Josh Reynolds. The way he played, the way Goff got off 9-9 right at the start.
Yeah, just speak on Goff.
No, I was saying another player was
on Reynolds.
The way that he played and stepped up.
Yeah, Reynolds is really playing big for us right now. And look, Reynolds he's been a trusted target, reliable guy since he's really been here. He just had some injuries last year that slowed him down a little bit at times. And but man, when he's healthy and he's going, I mean, he's somebody we have a lot of faith in. Yeah, I just think sometimes you don't know exactly where you're at until you're in it, and it's just we come off a big win, and you can always preach certain things, but man, this is the NFL, and these guys came in and they took that win, man. They earned it over there, and we did it. We did the mistakes that cost us, and I don't want to say we weren't ready. We have to make those plays in the moment and not just assume it's going to turn into the type of game you want it to. So, we wanted to go in. We attacked it a certain way, and it didn't go that way, and that's okay because now you got to close it out at the end, and we weren't able to do that. So, look, we'll regroup, and we'll get this stuff cleaned up, and I'll be better with the coaching staff, and we'll be great.
Still call more aggressively.
Just give me that one more time. I'm sorry.
He's running the clock now.
He's mad.
Mm-hmm.
What's the balance there of leaning on your defense to defend them for a minute versus leaning on a coin flip, trusting the coin flip to go your way, and leaning on your defense to hold them the length of the field in overtime?
I think the best way to put it is there was a risk I was willing to take, depending on what that yardage was fourth down. Once it hit 4th and 3, it wasn't worth it anymore for me.
I think so you're just talking strictly fourth down. I'm talking about the whole duration of that drive.
Yeah, to me, we had plenty of time to still score a touchdown. It wasn't about the time to me. We ended up in a fourth down was more than we were. I never felt like we were crunched against the clock to score a touchdown. Is that what you're saying? I didn't feel that. We didn't feel that offensively. Because we still had time. We had timeouts, and it wasn't that. We didn't.
But you had to score a touchdown.
We weren't
That's
able
the
to
thing.
convert. It was really more of that. I felt like the time we were good. We were good.
It seemed like for the 3 quarters of the game, Jared barely got touched. I don't know who went down. And then was that stretch where there were a couple of sacks, pressure on the interception, whether it was a route thing or not. Did something change? Did they do something differently? Suddenly turn it around?
No, never felt like they really. Look, they pressured a little bit more in a couple situations, but really they had pressured us in a little bit earlier too. So there was enough sprinkle in there that we were able to handle. It just, in those moments, we didn't handle it real good, where he got hit.
My time did go out right at that point in time. How was the AAV? Was that a contributing factor to that little, 4 or 5 play stretch where they were getting some pressure?
No, and there again, look, I need to see the tape, but we got a lot of faith in Graham. That's why he's here. So I didn't necessarily feel that. But I need to go back and watch everything. Vaitai, I'll know more tomorrow. I'm not sure, I can't give you a clear answer right now. The only one I could is I think Houston will be out for a little while.
You mentioned this sort of ties in with the humble pie, but kind of like the hype train going off the tracks. As Lee said a few weeks ago. Is this necessary to rein in some of those?
This is what we get, right?
Man, I just think inadvertently it always, man, it really, it gets your focus back on, here, man, we're on one track mind, man. Here's what it is. It's Atlanta. It's getting back to what we do. It's cleaning up all the little things and forget everything else, man. Because if we're not all collectively, me included, all of us just focused on what's right in front of us, man, then we're not all on the same page. And I just think that's what happens with loss. It stinks. It stinks to lose. It does. But, man, this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And I know this, though. We got to get cleaned up in a hurry. We got some good opponents we got ready to face coming in.
And on the more guys, the fourth down after Montgomery went on, ran a play action pass. Reynolds got tangled up with the cornerback. I think fans were looking for a pass interference. So what explanation did you get on that play from the officiating against Cincinnati?
Tangled feet. So.
Do you have an explanation on the last play? Hutchinson looked like he was being held a bit.
Just the last play.
No.
Just because Sprinkles called it out.
Every crew's different, and that crew they called it the way they call it, and we knew, that was a crew that normally calls a lot of penalties, and hey, that's up to them. And it to me, it should have never come down to that, So I'm not using that. I'm not using any of them.
Did it feel like a missed opportunity, considering that both their offensive tackles were hurting in this game? Did it feel like a missed opportunity that you guys didn't get to Gino more off just one sack with everything?
Yeah, you'd like to believe we could have applied a little more pressure, but I felt like we never really got him in that type of game consistently enough either, though. So we let them continue to function in their offense, and they were better at it and just better on the day than we were overall. They didn't make those critical errors. The turnovers are killers. I mean, I don't know how many times you guys have heard that, but we got to get ours cleaned up. Thanks.
All right, there you go. A very happy Dan Campbell talking about.
Look, lest anyone doubt why I put lame local media questions at the top of my enemies list, did somebody really ask him, what do you mean by humble pie? Somebody said that.
What do you think is with the hype train?
Right. What do you know what the word is? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, he's obviously mad. I think we've seen now enough of a kind of a cycle with him. Who he thinks is culpable for the loss based on who he defends.
Yes.
He blamed the offense in front of the media. He said, we didn't take advantage. We put pressure on our defense. He's going to walk back into those offices and light that defense on fire. Like that's what's going to happen. And then he's going to go to the offense and go, I threw you guys in front of the truck, but you know why I did that. Yes, the turnovers are a problem. All of those
It's all
things.
stuff we got to work on. Yep. Stuff we got to work on. Always there.
Right. But I think, and again, 100%, if you want to send me the angry emails and the comments and whatnot, this is 100% speculation. I don't have any inside dope on any of this, but I'm telling you right now, he consistently, when you as a Lions fan watch this team and the offense is clearly to blame or the defense is clearly to blame, Dan Campbell consistently comes out at the presser and blames the other side of the ball. And that's because he's taken a bullet for the guys that actually deserve the blame. And then you can damn sure bet he's going to go back and let him know.
Yeah. And there's always a bounce back after that. There's always a change in play.
I hope so.
Well,
I hope so.
They found many ways on all three sides of the ball or three phases of the game to lose over the years, and he would always blame one or the other. The call about the one holding is funny because it's like, you guys are in the press box or are you watching the broadcast? Because that you're only calling out what Greg Olsen did in the broadcast, but if you were actually looking at it, there was a lot more there. Just talk about the calls more generally, right? I mean, it's like, where are you getting your feed from? So, that's what we get.
By the way, quick aside, can somebody teach Greg Olsen how to say Laporta? Because if I hear Laporta, like even my daughter brought it up. She's like, why does he say it like that? That's neither here nor there. That did not contribute to the loss, but it was sure annoying.
So I want to talk about something real quick. Let me throw the number out there again. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. We'll take your calls. We'll have a nice ongoing conversation. People that were worried about, saying the Rams were a garbage team, and they tossed the Seahawks around, so the Seahawks are a garbage team too. The Rams are playing tough against the San Francisco 49ers right now. So just maybe things are a little different than maybe folks thought early on.
Yeah, and don't look now, but the NFC North went 0 this week.
Yes, which is good. I mean, which is good because we're now still tied for first place, right? And that's one of the things about once you're in first place, the idea that you can, you have to mess up and they have to win in order for you to lose your position. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink so far?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
Hey, man. Hey, good to talk to you, Chris. Corey down in Appalachia. I called last year.
Yeah.
Usually only called after a loss. Michael, great to see you, man. First time talking with you, buddy, but I really enjoy your content.
I don't want to thank you. I was going to sorry, go ahead, Mike. I jumped in to thank on your behalf. I edit it, so it's all me that makes him look so. No.
Oh,
that's not a lie.
I didn't say anything else. Okay.
It's not true. I wanted to jump the gun because Corey, really quick. Let me do a thing here. I want to talk about St. Jude, stjude.org/DLP. We are collecting, and Floundericious is matching the first $100 we get added in there today. If you go to stjude.org/DLP, donate $1, $3, whatever. You've doubled the money because Flounder again is coming in with his matching money, and we'll keep that money bumping up for St. Jude and those sick kids and their families getting the help they need. Never do they pay a dime when St. Jude helps them out. So, all right, thanks for letting me get that in there, Corey. What do you got for us, buddy?
Oh, no, man. Thank you guys for doing all your work for St. Jude. That's awesome. Happy to wait as long as it takes to advertise for such a good cause. Okay, so I want to kind of preface this with, like, I'm not a same old Lions fan. I've been a Goff supporter. I really enjoy what the Lions have done and how he's come along, et cetera. And I know the low-hanging fruit after today is the defense. So, but I just, I do feel this way about Goff. I don't know if the coaching staff can work with him on this, but his seemingly inability to work off schedule, that last week it was Amon-Ra on a post route, just wide open. This week, we saw Jahmyr Gibbs. They actually did a replay of this one, where he's missing them there. And in my mind, we have some really huge contracts coming up, with Penei, Amon-Ra, real cornerstones of the team. And I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, because where I'm coming from on this is that I'm really, really cheering for Hendon Hooker to develop, because I'd really love a guy that can scramble, and he doesn't forget that he can scramble sometimes and can work a little bit more off schedule if he can do that on the NFL level, so that we have money to maybe pour into some D-line help, et cetera. Now, I am not trying to throw Goff under the bus. I thought he has played exceptionally well here, and I know that this isn't the low-hanging fruit after today's game. But I didn't know what you guys' thoughts were on, that mindset, or like kind of where I'm coming from. I really applaud Jared for all the work he's done here, and I want to make sure it's not like I'm just some Goff hater that's been hating on him this whole time, because that's just not the case. But I do see, I don't want to, in order to make the Super Bowl, and win, et cetera, you either need to have a perfect assembly, or you need to actually have a quarterback that can work off schedule a little bit more than what we've seen to some extent. And that's just my opinion. Don't everybody go off on me, but yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though?
no,
There's
no.
a lot of Goff haters out there, right? And I just think they're kind of stupid, and I'm not coming from that place.
No, that's completely fair. And I'm gonna let Mike jump into this, just because he's always got such a great kind of take on that. But I want to say, Corey, thanks so much for calling. I'm gonna get Mike to respond to that, and I'm gonna let you go, and we'll get going. All right. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mike, what do you think, bro?
Well, I mean, stylistically, Jared Goff is what he is. I think this offense has been built to his strengths. The thing, this is going to be like a course in excuse making. You're missing your left tackle. You're missing your right guard. You've got the human turnstile Matt Nelson playing along that line. Penei Sewell is playing out of position. You lost RB1. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown is hurt. Like lots going on with that offensive performance, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. He threw the pick six, and that's another one of that. That's a Jared Goff interception where a DB doesn't make a great play. It's an inexplicably bad throw.
Let me get to
I think that
Jared Goff on the podium really quick, Michael. Sorry, we're just going to grab him while he's live here.
No, get it.
So, go.
It didn't end up hurting us, obviously, but mine and then the fumble, coming out of the half is tough. But the pick six, can't let it turn into points. It's tough. On
He's
me,
answer for us.
And got to take care of the ball there.
You say mine. Your coach said it was probably more of the route. So just from your
You said what?
Your coach said it was more of the route in his mind. So in your perspective, what did you see there? What should have happened on that?
I thought he ran a fine route. I was getting hit, or was about to get hit, and threw it before he broke. Guy made a good catch. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. I would have liked to throw it a little more inside and be able to give him a chance to catch it, and I didn't.
On the other end of that, you come back, you're down 10 at that point. You settle down, you take a really big hit at the beginning of that drive, and you still are able to kind of lead a 10-point comeback. How important was that to, I guess, show that resiliency to your offense?
Yeah, that's just part of playing the position. You're going to have turnovers. You're going to have bad plays. It's about what do you do next, and how do you bounce back? And was proud of the guys the way we did bounce back and get 2 scoring drives there. I thought the defense made a great stop there at the end, giving us another chance. Would have liked to get a touchdown there at the end to kind of finish it, but ultimately not enough.
We talked about it a little bit last week with Josh, just the comfort level there, just how big he has been the first 2 weeks, stepping up 2 touchdowns today, just your comfort level with him.
Yeah, I trust him a hell of a lot. I trust him, and he's got great hands. He's been playing at a high level. He's starting to catch himself a little bit of a rhythm now, which is good, and get himself open. I think at the end of the day, I trust him and know he's going to be competitive at the catch point, and he's proved to be that.
Every loss stings, I'm sure, but the crowd, the noise, everything at stake. Seattle, who won the last game, does this one sting a bit more?
Yeah, they all sting. You would like to get the first one in front of the fans.
I don't know, buddy.
Probably makes it sting a little bit more. Is that was a real home field advantage for us today, and having them do that for the rest of the year will be a real home field advantage. So got to give them something to root for though, and continue to find ways to win games. And but yeah, today stings anytime you lose, but got to find a way to get back on the horse and get next week.
Dan called it maybe a little bit of humble pie. Can you sometimes learn more from a loss than you can a win?
Yeah, I thought he said it great after the game. Just we didn't deserve that one. We might have got away with it at the end there. We really didn't. You know, they earned that win, and we kind of earned the loss. And you know, again, had some plays potentially to kind of sneak one out there and get away with it, but typically it doesn't go your way if the turnover margin is that big.
Your perspective on that last drive, you said you like to have gotten a touchdown. You guys got off to such a good start, good field position, clock's in your favor. Why do you think that stalled out the way it did and left you settling for the field goal?
Yeah, there's always the dance of when how quickly you want to score, and yeah, I think I wish I would have hit St. Brown on the in-breaker. You know, that kind of put us behind the sticks a little bit. You know, maybe I get, through my progression on some of those other ones to get a little bit further down the field, get us in a little bit of better strike zone to kind of take that shot at the end zone. But yeah, it ultimately we just didn't get it done, and it stinks.
Big picture though, I mean, the offense will fall much better with two and week one. Is this more a symbol you guys are on track and back to delivering what you capable of delivering now?
Yeah. If there's some magic world where we can take away the turnovers from today, I thought we played pretty well. But outside of that,
except on defense,
the turnovers is what kill you, and you got to take care of the ball, and we didn't, and it ended up costing us.
Florida came up big there in the second half. Just wondered what you saw of the rookie in game 2.
Yeah, he did. He really did. And I think his run after catch is pretty special. And his hands, again, at the catch point, he's really competitive and is again starting to find himself, in a little bit of a rhythm too, and how he wants to play the game and how he fits in our offense. And I'm excited to see his development continue.
Thanks, guys.
All good. Thanks, guys.
All right, there we go. Sorry to interrupt you there, Mike,
Right.
but I thought Jared might do a good job off answering the question as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that is the one thing. I mentioned it back in July or August. I can't remember. It's a blur. But somewhere along the line, Jared Goff went from being the quarterback of the Detroit Lions to a leader of this team.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it specifically with Jamison Williams, with the way that he was trying to reach out and make sure that he got folded into the offense as best he can. And I don't think we can underestimate his absence at this point, because having that kind of weapon to go with everything else might have mattered today a little bit more. He just took responsibility for the pick, which you have to do. Again, that's a leadership thing. Going back to the original question, and if you just bombed in, the question was, do the Lions need a quarterback who can get off platform and make off schedule throws, i.e. a running QB and Hendon Hooker? Sure. I mean, if you can bring that extra skill set to the table, great. I don't think there's a chance in hell that they move off of Jared Goff when he's playing at the level he's been playing at. And that includes today. I mean, he threw the one pick.
Yep.
It's bad. It was bad. He got hit on the throw. I thought he actually explained that pretty well, that the route was run correctly and, he was avoiding contact. Patchwork O-line, all of those things. Unfortunately, they were playing a team with a patchwork O-line, missing both of their tackles. And Jason Peters, who is almost my age, is on their practice squad. They were banged up too. Our pass rush didn't get home. Jared Goff can't answer for the defense. He wouldn't. I don't think that this leadership crew moves away from Jared Goff unless Jared Goff gives them a reason to, and I don't think he did that today.
Yeah, and I think
if that answers the question,
I think it does. I think what you have is you have a front office that's super intelligent on how they're building this. They've got a hedge on their bet with Hendon Hooker on Jared Goff. They have a quarterback they have to negotiate. Hendon Hooker is one hell of a chip in your pot. If I don't know, when you're trying to negotiate a contract with Jared Goff, how much you get, right? Well, we do have this other guy. He's younger. He's great throw, all that kind of stuff. We could bring him up. He could be the face of the franchise now. We've built the franchise, kind of like San Francisco. It's kind of been the kind of model that I've talked about. Build it all and then get your quarterback. A lot of people were out on Jared Goff. Jared Goff has done spectacular. Look, his 383 throws without an interception, and then his interception hits and it's a pick six. You know what? If every 385 throws Jared Goff throws a pick six and no interceptions in between, that's one hell of a quarterback, and I'll take him any day of the week, plus on Sunday.
By the way, he went 28 of 35 for 323 and 3 touchdowns today.
Yeah.
In a loss.
Yeah.
28 to 35 in the league. That doesn't happen very often.
And
You know,
I just kind of want to go about with that. Sorry, Mike. Michael, great. You know how I am.
It's good.
I want to talk
I've been
about
called
really
worse.
not just that Goff's done well. I mean, the defense was a gaping hole today, but the rest of the division lost. Just think about that. This is as we think about where we're at. Yep, this stunk. This hurt. The rest of the division lost. We're still tied for first place in the division. Technically second because Green Bay got a division win. Okay, that's fine. But we were expecting to go 0-2. We were expecting to go 0-2 at the beginning of the season. Well,
I wasn't expecting to go 0-2. That was just Risden.
Everybody. It wasn't just Riz. It was, I won't say everybody, but
I'll be honest, and you could lay this at my feet. I legitimately thought that just based on the matchups, the Lions were going to blow out Seattle today. I thought they were going to win and win in the kind of way that made it easy on everybody's heart, that nobody had any blood pressure medication. And I thought that back in May. I didn't see the matchups turning out in Seattle's favor. I thought the pass rush would get home. I saw a secondary that was vastly improved, and I didn't think for a second that Aaron Glenn would leave anyone man on DK Metcalf for the entire game. But here we are.
That was woof.
That's why I'm sitting in my my dining room in Montana, and those guys are coaching in the NFL.
I think Michelle's right about Tim. You shouldn't listen to him in the chat. Okay, let's see what we have here. Man, lost. We can beat the beatable teams. You have to beat the beatable teams. Yeah, but with that, there's always the team that you lose against. Every team loses against a team. Could this be that? Could this be that little taste of humble pie that this team needed? That because after that roll in Kansas City, 10 games, on one hand, you say, oh, we get a lot of time to game plan for this team. But on the other hand, you give players, especially young ones, a lot of opportunity to get a little bit full of themselves. And I'll say one other just good thing kind of takeaway from this game was the way the team did perform in the fourth quarter there when they came back and when it was required. They came to the very, very end until overtime. They tightened everything up. So there's something there, right? We know there's something there. We know this is a good team at its heart. We just hope Montgomery is one that it looks like it's going to be a while. And I don't. That worries me because I kept saying all day, how about, Jamal's down there and you're getting 8, 9, 12 yards more after Jamal would have been down. It was, God, he's so impressive for us. So important.
No, that guy was turning 1 yard into 5, 1 yard into 7, 1 yard into 5, 1 yard into 6. He just so reliably. And then when you saw him twist that knee, that's tough. That's tough because now the RB3 thing, and I know I will incur the wrath of Riz because he's a big Craig Reynolds guy. Maybe with a week to prepare, he looks better, but I mean, there isn't a shadow of David Montgomery to be found on that roster if Jahmyr Gibbs isn't ready to go.
Yeah.
That gets tough. It gets tough really fast because they were counting on him to just be that bell cow.
Yeah, that's tough. I got to give a shout out. I remember Don H, $50 for St. Jude. Thank you, sir. That came in.
Nice.
The thank you hit at just the right time. Thank you very much. That's Floundericious going to match that other 50. We need 50 more to get a full match of the 100 that's out there right now. So as much as you have, if you can, just drop a little in stjude.org/DLP. It'll go right to the site. And like I said, it's all tax deductible. There you go. Also have to say thank you now again to Jameson Hennessy for the super chats. Had a big hundo he dropped on us. It's very much appreciated, Dave Jameson. And Michael, can you just give a little toast there to the name Jameson Hennessy because that's his real name. His parents were.
Oh yeah, 100%. And by the way, thanks to Tim in the comments, I saw that where he said at least Mike's drinking a man's drink. Yeah, I don't know what you got. Are you? That's not really a White Claw, is it?
It's a Truly. It might as well be a freaking White Claw.
Oh, ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
I'm trying to keep my girlish figure.
No, this is Kentucky straight bourbon. I actually bought this on my trip to Michigan. I went to the distillery, but like an idiot, I didn't have any checked luggage, so I only had my carry-on, and I couldn't buy any bourbon in Kentucky because I am, in fact, a moron. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jameson. All right. So you can give us a call 248-782-8384. That's the number 248-782-8384. We'll get you on the show. Tell us what you think of the game, what we could fix, what better items we could be drinking.
I'll tell you what I think of the game. Just gonna have to wait till we're off the air.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We got a caller right now. Hey, caller, what's your name and how much have you had to drink so far?
Hey, what up? It's Eric.
Hey, Eric.
I'm in Ann Arbor.
Oh man, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
I'm
doing pretty good.
Just to digress on Ann Arbor really quick. That was a little sweaty game, a lot sweatier than it should have been against Bowling Green. Am I wrong?
Yeah, right?
Yes, sir. I'm actually an MSU fan, but, I'm living here in enemy territory.
That game was uglier.
we don't want to talk about the Husky game then.
Yeah. I didn't want to rub anything in, bro. I was just trying to make some nice talk there.
No, you're good. I'm like 4 beers in right now.
Good for you.
They started coming a little faster there later in the third quarter. No, I think Michael said it a little bit ago. They had a couple of their tackles out, and so coming into this game, especially after beating the Chiefs, right? I'm thinking that this was a game that we would have a good chance to have, and not just by a little bit. Like, I expected this to be like a blowout win at home, having the crowd behind you. I thought we would bring the pressure like crazy, especially after the way things went against Mahomes last week. And then I just don't know what happened. I just didn't see the pressure. We got to the end of the first half, and I'm thinking, like, what's going on with this defense right now? Like, where's the pressure? Because their O-line is not what it should be right now, and we should be bringing a lot more than this. So I just feel like I don't understand what happened there, a lot of other things went well, but yeah, that was just, I just don't understand what happened there.
Can I venture a little bit into that space? Because look, I've talked about the holding because I was just throwing imaginary flags the whole time, right? But the other piece of this is, and we talk about it every year, about week one and the fool's gold that comes in week one with all that. Now, do I think our defensive line is fool's gold? No. But Pascal down, Houston out, right? I mean, I got to just shout out to Comiskey for the on the sideline. It was freaking hilarious. I mean, we all howled in laughter with that. But I'm pretty certain our defensive line is somewhere between where it was today and where it was against the Chiefs. Hopefully these boys can come back healthy. I'm recalling for some reason that somebody thought that Pascal may be a longer term thing, which really stinks because he's I
think he got IR, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
So that's 4 weeks.
He'll be back when Jamo's back, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, using Houston as an example of what was wrong today, and I think I am personally looking forward to the first couple of daily DLPs from the world's saltiest Canadian, Ash Thompson.
Yeah.
Because he's going to have the statistical breakdown on what I think I'm seeing, and if you're not checking out his videos, like he does the Rain Man thing where he puts the math to what you're watching, and then you feel like you're inside the Matrix. You're just watching the green numbers drop. That's what that guy does. Because when I was monitoring his feed on the Slack channel, by the way, spend that $5, and during games, get ready. It's like being in a hurricane. He kept noting all of those pressures. There were so many blitzes, double safety blitzes. At one point, AG sent Branch and CJ, and neither one of them got close. Neither one of them got home. Over and over again, when you send those pressures and they don't get home, what you end up with is guys wide open. And going back to where this all comes back to James Houston, remember the Noah Fant catch? Where he was running down the sideline on a streak, and James Houston drew the coverage?
Yeah.
That's not a thing. That's a pass rush specialist. That I get it. You want him to have some run responsibilities and learn how to play outside linebacker. That's fun. But can we not make him a nickel corner, please? Can we not put him on a tight end that's really fast and really good?
I was
what in the blue hell was that?
I was testing my wife. I'm like, I think maybe a linebacker should have been covering him.
Good Lord. I mean, and it was what we saw last year, and no, it's nothing against him, but once teams realized that according to the scheme, they could find ways to isolate Malcolm Rodriguez in crossing coverage, and they could put him in a blender, and then you find out that he's 5'10", and that comes with some limitations, and his speed isn't great. But good God, when you see James Houston running fly routes down the sideline, and he's 5 yards behind him, like me chasing the fast kid at school. No, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad design. That's blowing up in front of your face. And you're playing a guy in Geno Smith who has years of experience and is going to find that guy. He's going to find that guy every time.
Do you think they expected to have over-the-top help for Houston in coverage? Was that the plan?
Well, but that would be the zone, right? You've got to have somebody come in the other way. You can't expect him to run streaks.
We're gonna have
that was
his back was to the quarterback. He's woefully behind. I guess we were just expecting safety help on that. That would
right. No, I mean it was like backyard football. Where you're like, I called by me. Hey, you guys, I don't. There were a handful of those moments on defense where they need to go back, and it has to be Campbell, because he's the only one with the authority to do so. He has to look at Aaron Glenn, point to the screen, and say, "Never again. Whatever this is, we're not doing that anymore."
Yep.
Just get rid of that. And by the way, we're going in this weird quarterback order. You're going from Patrick Mahomes, who is the best in the league, to Geno Smith, a seasoned, salty, leathery veteran, to Desmond Ridder, who still has to bring his placenta to the game because he's brand new. Like this guy is dripping wet. So, I don't know what he's going to do, but he's got to figure some stuff out because Atlanta's got weapons everywhere else. And if he doesn't have something to keep that quarterback's brain in a torture chamber, it could be a long day against Atlanta, who I believe is 2-0 after beating the Packers today.
Yes, they are.
And Bijan's going to have a nice little day and all of those things. And they got big wideouts and like all the stuff. So
thank
you, Atlanta, for beating the Pack. I hope over next week.
Yeah, I hope you burnt yourself out.
Right.
Hey, thank you, Don H. Another 50 to St. Jude. That covers the matching dollars from Flounder today. That's $200 we raised. Thank you all for joining the fight for St. Jude and helping those families. It means a lot. It is awesome. Very cool. Folks are doing this every year for us and with us. That coverage was terrible. The plan was terrible. I didn't see. It is all about adjustments. It is all about adjustments on defense, and nothing changed from the start of the game. And it was like, I don't know if Aaron Glenn was like, you just got to beat us. It's like, Aaron, do you notice they're beating you? No, they got to beat us. That. It's like no, Aaron.
It's like getting punched in the face and going, didn't hurt. Didn't hurt.
See, bet you couldn't do that
until
again.
You're bleeding.
Bet you couldn't do that again. I think you think you do that again. Oh man. But okay, so what do we have? We have a team who just played brilliantly week 1. Week 2 just played a game that was just not. I mean, let's be honest. In week 1, they played brilliantly enough to win, but both teams looked rusty as hell. Right. Week 2 came along and the Lions still looked rusty. So did the Seahawks in many ways. They weren't quite at the top of their game either. So
their defense is trash too, by the way.
Yeah. I
mean, keep in mind, the Lions gave up 3 turnovers and the Seahawks needed overtime. Like that defense for Seattle is garbage. It's not good. Jared Goff picked them apart. And when Montgomery was in the game, the running game was going. They had everything they wanted. As Greg Olson said, Sam Laporta, he had himself whatever he wanted too. Yeah. They were working really well. The injuries slowed them down, certainly, losing Vaitai, losing Demo. You start to take some some bullets out of the gun at that point. But that Seattle defense leaves much to be desired as well. But Detroit made way too many mistakes. Way too many.
There's a lot of people asking. Oh, caller, how you doing? You still there? Okay, we lost him.
Did you hang up on him?
Oh, there you are. How you doing, brother?
Oh, no, this is okay. Sorry, this is still me. I probably should have hung up already. I don't know how this whole thing works. Am I just hang up after you guys?
No, that's okay. We usually hang up, but you were there. We were talking. I just said, oh yeah, he's still there. Let's come back to him.
Oh, okay. Well, I really just have like one other thing I do want to say. Like
sure.
Before, coming into the season, I honestly thought we would start 0-2. So I still feel like we're in a good place right now, being 1-1. But obviously, coming into this game, I had higher expectations for what we could do. But
100%.
Especially after beating the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right. You know what? I will tell you. Thank you so much for calling. Absolutely. I after the first game, I had higher expectations. I was hoping we would pull one of these two games out. We've got a lot of talent on this team, a lot of opportunity, and I don't think we've seen the best of this team by any stretch yet. The other side of that too is I see people talking about Gibbs. I see a lot of people like, which would whatever else. Just kind of for the thing. I wish we would have had. I saw somebody say, I wish we had Bijan instead of Gibbs and Laporta. A lot of people this time last year were calling Aiden Hutchinson Bustinson. Bustinson. Bustinson.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
maybe not that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too quick to put your name to something that's maybe a little early. I'll just say that. I would let it go and see how things run and see what we have. There was a lot of things that went wrong. It wasn't all Gibbs that wasn't right. Laporta, I mean, let's face it, he did look really good out there. I'm really happy with him. He's going to be something. I mean, imagine having an Iowa tight end who doesn't fall down when the ball hits his hands. That's an upgrade.
By the way, I mentioned this again this weekend, and this is apropos of nothing. I watched some more Iowa football over the weekend because I hate myself, and I don't know how a program consistently churns out fantastic pros every year at so many positions, every year consistently, and still sucks so bad at college football. It is an amazing feat of boobery that Kirk Ferentz can take such talent and make them so mid every single year after year after year. And he's got these dopes out in Cornland cheering for a wholesome 7-win team when they've got NFL talent all over the field.
Yeah.
It's outrageous. That's
who was it? Who was it that tackled Montgomery on the injury? Because I
don't know.
I saw his name and I forgot. If you go back and look at it, he was doing a little bit of a gator roll on that. That's part of why Monty was spinning. He wasn't just spinning to get away and try to get extra yards. It kind of feeds back into my notion about Pete Carroll teams, and Pete Carroll is a piece of crap.
That is technically something called hawk tackling. They teach it. You can Google it. And part of that gator roll is supposed to be, this is by design, allegedly, that's supposed to be a safer way to get guys to the ground, is to hit, wrap, and spin as opposed to going high towards the head, neck, and just trying to blast somebody over. But that hawk tackling thing is something that I don't know if they've copyrighted it, but I think they may have in an effort to market it. Yeah, that's an actual thing. And in this case, all he had was a foot as opposed to the entire lower half.
Yeah.
So when you spin with a foot,
when you have to gator roll a body, right, or hawk tackle a body, okay, fine. But when you start doing it to limbs, bad things are going to happen. 100% of the time, and players get real mad about the gator rolls on limbs, and go back and look. I'm serious. It was crappy. It was crap. So anyway, that was that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I just didn't like that. Let me hit the phone number really quick. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. Join us. Give us a ring, and we can come on board the show and have some fun. You having fun, Gray? Even after a loss, do you feel the therapy? Because it slowly starts to generally make things feel a little better than before the show started.
Well, it's funny because we had the last call, and we were talking about the two Michigan schools both played, right? And And I was talking with a buddy of mine who was apoplectic. I mean, he was on the ledge about the University of Michigan. He's like, that was a garbage game. If they do that in the Big Ten, they're going to lose 3 conference games this year. Blah, 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 blah. JJ sucks, all the stuff. I'm like, yeah, they just played maybe the worst game they've played in 2 years, turned the ball over a whole bunch of times, and absolutely peed down their leg, and they won by 25. Like, you need sometimes you need a little bit of context. And we'll get the good news is in the NFL, we're going to get all our context in 6 days or 7 days. We're going to, next Sunday, you're going to find out how bad this loss was based on what the Lions roll out there at home against Atlanta.
Yeah.
If they start doing this stuff 2-3 weeks in a row, regardless of the injuries, you've got issues.
Yeah.
But we've seen Dan Campbell. I mean, I go back, the game that broke me last year was the Carolina game.
That hurt a lot of people. That hurt a lot of people.
That one left a mark. And it was so, because the way they were rolling, it was so out of character, and Carolina had everything they wanted. And I'm still convinced Carolina's a mediocre team. They're probably more mediocre this year than they were last year. We'll find out later. There was just no reason for that team to be that ill prepared. Again, the defense just got smoked. The offense had whatever it wanted. And then they came back and they finished strong, and you forget about it. And so that's where we'll find out. We'll find out how bad this game was next week against Atlanta.
And I think it's a great point, Mike. I think the Carolina game last year, we absolutely got manhandled. We did. But that's one of those games, every team has a game like that every year. They just get beat up, and it's a game they should win. I don't care if it's the New England Patriots. I don't care who it was. During their dynasty times, people would lose against good teams that they shouldn't lose against. There's always one of those, and that kind of keeps that any given Sunday narrative going. Hey, caller, how you doing? What's your name? How many have you had? And how's the daycare center going today?
Hey, it's Ben from the UP.
Hey, Ben, how you doing up there?
A couple more. Good. How are you?
Wait. You can't just say UP. What part of the UP? Where are you from?
The cold part. Well, Ishpeming. The cold part, don't you know?
Ishpeming. Awesome.
Well,
hey, man,
it's cold up here.
I lived in Sault Ste. Marie for 3 years.
Close to Watersmeet.
Yeah.
We go in and out of touch. We go close for a while. We go out for a while, but
Watersmeet was my place. Gray, you lived up there, you said?
Right. I know you come up. I know you come up there, and we're close, but. I got 10,000 kids here. We're doing good. We're doing good except for the outcome of the game.
How much do we had to drink today, my man?
Several.
Good.
And keep them going.
That's the right answer.
That's the Ishpeming strength. Ishpeming strong.
Yes, sir.
All right. What do you got for us, bud? What do you got, Ben?
Well, here's where I'm going today. I know it's defense being called out today, but I want people. I know I'm going to start the jamo countdown early. 2 weeks into the season, we got 4 weeks for him to come back. I want people to take the high road on jamo and what he can add to this offense, because we got a top offensive line. We got good running backs, good wide receivers, consistent quarterback, consistent tight end, everything. Jamo's had some crap, and it's media crap. Nothing he's done is so egregious to this point that I just go back and watch some Alabama highlights and think about what he's going to add to this offense. It's going to be pick your poison. I'm going to be so happy when jamo comes back to this offense. I'm just asking Lions fans, take the high road on this guy. Don't follow the media. We could have used a guy like him today. That's right, Esme football.
Hey, Ben, I have a question for you. This came up in the chat, and I think it's a brilliant idea. Well, it's sort of. Hattori Hanzo, the samurai sword salesman, he wants us to put the kids on the phone, but I would love it. Do you think you could get them all to chant FTP?
Esme, Lucy, can we say FTP? FTP, FTP, FTP. Can you do it? FTP, You're going to go shy. Okay. Not this week. But
Oh, it was worth it. It was
We
worth
won't
it.
get them.
That's how we.
She's three. Give her time.
Yeah. Oh no, I know it's built in there. It's built in there. It's hard coded. Oh my gosh, Mike Gray. Sorry, I just trying to get the kid angle covered, right? I want to make sure we had the full thing here.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. Give them
The
their
kid show. Yeah. Or sorta.
Yeah, no, I think JMO. I'm feeling good about JMO. That's all I can do. I've got nothing to prove
I do
otherwise as far as what he.
People are writing him off the wrong way,
Yep.
and it's because of the media. Like, you could fart in the wrong direction, and people are gonna just write about it the wrong way. And it's, I just like I say, go back and watch some Alabama highlight videos. The guy, he's got some passion for the game, and what he could add to this offense. When you look back at that, it's gonna be pick your poison and everything. I don't want to talk about defense today. We're not going to go there, but.
But you know,
guys talked about that enough.
The second we did that flea flicker to, they've got to chant FTP. I'm just telling you, you've got to figure that out. The second they threw that flea flicker to Khalif, I just knew.
Yeah.
That was a JMO play. Awesome. That was a JMO play.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you unleash Khalif a little bit differently on the field while JMO's making the streak. I just think there's so many weapons and opportunities there. He brings, we talked about this for a long time in the Matt Patricia world, where you'd have your number one wide receiver, or even in the first year, Jared Goff was like a number 3 wide receiver for every other team. And then everybody else was below that. And trying to play with a wide receiver set like that just is so hard. Now you have guys that are up there in your number 1, number 2 space with Amon-Ra and all that. And all of a sudden you have, JMO's here. Do you wind up with 2 number 1 receivers on your team? That changes the entirety of how this offense threatens other teams, how they have to play it, and opens up all kinds of opportunities for you guys who are, your number 2 standard wide receiver in the NFL who's playing number 3, right? That gives you really, really great matchups. So JMO coming back, I think, at least for a week or two. Then it depends. It depends on who he is. If he's him and we're standing up when he's got the ball, then I think we're in good shape. But we got to get him out there. He's got to get the reps. He's got to spend the time.
You can't give it too high of a start. Like last year, he came in, he did okay, but you got to give him time to work into the offense. He's had more of that this year, but there's still going to be a little rust, everything. But it's up to the fans. I think that's who I'm calling out a little bit. And that means something. You guys know that. Hey, just through social media, everything. If he's walking through the tunnel and you hear blah blah blah, gambling, blah 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 blah, whatever. You know what I mean? Lift this guy up. That's what I'm saying. Play the high road. Play the high road, because Ben Johnson called him electric. That's all you got to know. He's an electric player. That's what we need on this offense. Just nobody can stop it. If it's like you guys were talking about where you rate the under, over, you and Riz earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Top 5, top 10, whatever. We got everything minus DJ, but we can have more of Jameson this year. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying there.
I think.
Tell me how you feel about that.
He gave 2 to 1 odds that he'd be back in week 7, so I'm feeling good about it.
Oh boy.
All right, hey Ben, thanks so much for calling, man. Stay warm up there, right, brother?
Will do.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.
If you ever record those kids saying FTP, just go ahead and email it to me, okay?
Yeah, we'll get there next week. I'll prep them.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you.
Take care.
Ciao. All right.
All right. Two things. One, Ishpeming, home of the Youpers tourist trap. All right. That's where you can go and see Big Gus, the chainsaw.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Because I did live up there for 3 years, and my dad retired actually to the Keweenaw. So I drove through Ishpeming every time I had to go to his place.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Great little. Yeah.
My world was Waters Meet up there. I loved that whole part of the state, man. We used to go to Escanaba, the UP State Fair all the time. They had some pretty good bands going on. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun up there.
If I could ever find my way to Munising, I might not come back. That's my spot right there. I love the big water. And two, I mean, in regards JMO, I think, we all have to, when the regular season starts, we all have to recalibrate. And today you saw it in vivid color injuries are guaranteed.
Yep.
They're guaranteed. And there's no such thing as enough depth. There's no such thing as enough playmakers. There's no such thing as enough talent. Doesn't exist. It's not real. Ask the Chiefs what happens when one tight end goes out of the lineup. All of a sudden, they're hobbled. And their entire game plan falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. It's over. So yeah, getting Jamo back now, especially, that we're looking potentially at a David Montgomery-less offense, which changes everything. It changes everything because he was the central part of that running attack.
Yeah.
And now it's on Gibbs and Reynolds and other, to be determined depending on whether or not Montgomery's out. And when he goes off on the cart with a bag on his knee, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on the internet, but I'm here to tell you, I don't think we're going to see him right away. So yeah, Jamo's importance can't be overstated. Rather, he's got to come back and he's got to flash, because so far through 2 weeks of the regular season, the most we know about him is based on some flaming hot Cheetos and whatever the hell that vomit looking stuff was that he put on top of a styrofoam plate. That's what we know about Jamo in 2023. that 1,500 calorie mess that looked like something my dog did on the carpet. That was brutal.
1.5 was the over under he gave on taking craps the next day.
We're all fingers crossed, hoping that guy gets into the lineup and does all of the things that you expect from a 12th overall pick. We're going to have 2 12th overall picks from the Crimson Tide in the offense at some point, and they're going to have to ball out because otherwise this season could get real long.
Yep, absolutely.
Like real long. Like 18 weeks long. Very long.
Long. All right. Well, let's start getting into. We'll take one more call. If someone wants to come in, it's 248-782-8384. If you get your kids, you can get them to chant FTP. We'll take that and we'll put that on the air. 248-782-8384. We'll get you on the show. You can talk Lions, talk AG, talk the future. I'm not out on AG. Not yet. But I could be. I certainly could be. I just, again, with these things, by what was it was into week 4 last year, maybe even later, Bustinson, it's Bustinson. And those people all faded back into the bush. I'm just not really going to jump on that I hate them right away train. It could be just a bad game.
I don't want to contradict you, but I watch everything you put on the channel. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you what you think about Aaron Glenn in 2 words. Steve Wilkes. I saw your face when he was on the market. I heard your voice when he was on the market. I'm just saying.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink?
You coward.
I am drinking White Claws. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink so far?
No drinks today.
Oh, good. We've got.
Oh God, you're doing this sober? You just raw dogged an overtime game against the Seahawks? That's terrible.
I really think for me, today's good news was the bad news. That's how I'm looking at it. Every other team, the NFC North lost, which was the good news. But the Lions had a huge opportunity to really step on the throat and take control of the division. They moved to 2-0, and that's the bad news.
Yeah.
I just, this is a game that they should have won, that they could have won, and just defense today did not make plays. Hutchinson made a play at the end on that screen, but up until then, other than getting held, it seemed like every other play just didn't do enough. And that to me was frustrating to watch.
Yeah, no, I that's the hardest part. And this is so much the reality of being a Detroit Lions fan throughout history is when they have that opportunity.
What are you doing?
He hung up. That's why. Okay, all better.
The
When
music that goes with the all skate lighting that comes on behind you every now and again.
when it's time to shoot the duck, yeah. Anytime.
It's 2023 and we just made a shoot the duck reference. All the Gen Zers and millennials are like, I got nothing. Somebody Google that, please. I have no idea what those fossils are talking about.
This anytime we've had the chances historically to put the foot on the throat of anybody, we trip. Anytime we have that spot to throw ourselves out to a convincing step ahead of where we've failed, and we kind of did that again here. And that's a tough one. It's a tough one to swallow. Very tough to swallow.
Yeah, right. And how dare he come in with like a reasonable, nuanced take where he's looking at the game in totality as compared to the rest of the season, and then using the the scale of the NFC North.
Yeah,
got no time for that kind of reasonable analysis.
That's not what this is all about, right? Giants.
Exactly. I want to yell and scream and make words.
Giants have played 6 quarters, haven't scored a point. It could be worse. Thank you, Steve-O. You making it feel a little bit better there.
They're getting trucked by the Arizona Cardinals. Ugh.
Hey, how you doing, caller? What's your name and how much have you had to drink?
Hi, guys. This is Ivars from Latvia, also known as Latvia Lion.
How you doing, Ivars?
I wanted to ask you guys a question about the officiating.
Sure thing.
What'd you think on the last play? Was number 97 held?
Lovingly, yes.
Lovingly.
Like a swaddled newborn. I mean, he had been all game long. He was held in KC. They had the parent cam. I kept waiting for his mother to stand up. Like, you remember when Kate Upton did that? When old boy. What's a pitcher from the Tigers? Yeah, Verlander. When he got screwed around, and she jumped on Twitter and said, "I thought I was the only one who got to F Justin Verlander." I mean, it's ridiculous. By the way, points to Kate for jumping on there and doing that. But yeah, he was held all game long, and I mean the pictures from KC, the one where he just had the jersey and the pad are exposed, and he's making a nightmare for these tackles, and they're resorting to anything they can, but he's not getting the calls. Through 2 games, he hasn't gotten any of it.
And my second question would be about the overtime rules. I mean, we've all talked about the rules, but my tweak to the rule would be is that both teams get to possess the ball. But by rule, and that's the important part, by rule, you can't play for the tie. And that would mean that if the first team to possess the ball gets a 3-point, the second team can't go down and kick a field goal. They have to go for a touchdown. And the only way the game could end in a tie is if both teams score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion. If the time expires somewhere in between, so be it. Your thoughts?
Well, if one team gets a touchdown, it's over. Another team doesn't get a chance to do that. And
that's my problem, is that if one team gets a touchdown, the other team does not get to possess the ball. So my solution to that would be is that both teams get to possess the ball. And that would mean that if the first team possesses the ball, scores the touchdown, gets a 1-point conversion, the other team still gets a chance to possess the ball. But they can't play for the tie. If they get a touchdown, they have to go for a 2-point conversion. Think about the excitement that would add to the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things there. One, with the current overtime rules, I think the way you fix it, if you're Detroit in this situation, is play defense. The game is two-sided, and they can fix that way. Is just get off the field on 3rd and 6. The other thing is, you believe it or not, you're going to have trouble from the NFLPA stretching out these games, guaranteeing 2 possessions, putting teams out on the field longer. Nobody wants to play overtime in the NFL. Nobody. And I think the NFLPA would have legit issues with anything that automatically, by virtue of rule, stretches the game further. They want to get out of there as soon as possible.
There you go.
I would concur with Michael's statement, but my thing is no player wants to lose a game without touching the ball, without getting a chance.
That's true.
And this provides them with getting a chance to win the game. And in my opinion, this kind of equates or equalizes the game. And think about the excitement that it would add. Would you go for a 3-point? Would you go for a field goal if you know that the other team's going to get the ball, and they can win with a touchdown? Actually, they have that choice now. But would you go for a touchdown and a 1-point conversion if you know the other team's going to get a chance to go for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, or do you automatically go for the 2-point conversion?
It's interesting. I don't disagree that they want the opportunity to possess the ball, but the decision's made before the season starts, and that's not in the time during the game when they would want to make that choice. And I think that's where they come up with the rules, because they think about it in the vacuum of what's the best way for player safety and to package a 3-hour game. That's really where what trumps all of that.
That's true.
And then you get to the situations now where you get the cascading effects. It's unfortunate, but that is what it is. Hey, Latvia Lion, thank you. Ivars, thank you for calling. We're gonna roll out here really quick, but good conversation. That's one I think we can talk about more on the weekly show, a little bit about overtime rules. Yeah. Calls are pouring in really quick. Do you mind if I grab one?
Let me say two things.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But let me say two things really, really fast. One, this is the only Lions post-game show where you will go from an Ishbeming accent to a Latvian accent, and I guarantee it. That is not happening anywhere else. Period. Full stop. That was awesome. And second of all, the game is two sides. We can't just make offensive rules. I don't think you can just make overtime rules about the offense, because you play defense too. And in this case today, all day, you played it very poorly. So
there you go,
including in the overtime.
Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink, and how much more have you had to drink since the end of the game?
Hey, Chris and Gray, it's Flounder.
Flounder, how you doing, brother? Thank you,
hey man,
for the match
What's
during
on,
the
buddy?
show today and the show during the week, brother. You're always such a charmer. Get all those folks to.
It's a real good cause. I'm always happy to be a part of it and help you guys get there. So definitely appreciate it. On the drinking thing, I've shot the whole round at this point. I've done an Oktoberfest, I've done a White Claw, and I've done a shot of Maker's Mark bourbon. So cheers, Gray.
All right.
Biggest thing I want to point out to people is listen to Dan Campbell. He basically said it flat out straight to your face, because he's always going to do that. It's like, you can't win if you lose the turnover battle. And they did. And they made critical mistakes at critical times, and that happens. But Gray, you'll remember this, because I live in the Pacific Northwest, and I get bombarded with Seattle media just like you did when you were covering it, when you were a part of the problem. Solution. But the real thing they would always say is they'd have some horrible, annoying, aggravating loss to like the freaking 7-9 Rams or something. Like Jeff Fisher's team would come in and just like smother the Hawks in like November or December. And it was like, how can this team possibly compete in the playoffs? And the thing everyone would do is they would brush themselves off and say, that's our learning loss. We're going to pick ourselves up. We're going to figure out what isn't working, because they scouted us. They must have, like, the last 3 games they lost, they must have not been preparing for those, because they had our number. But let's figure out what they figured out. Let's go fix what they showed us is broken, and then let's go forward. And that's it. Like, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. That's what Dan Campbell said. So anyways, I'm going to hang up and listen. Love you guys. I'll always be there to support. Take care.
Love you, Flounder. Thank you, brother.
All right, man. No, and he's absolutely right. And I think, this was one of the things that I put in my wish list for this game, is that we start listening to Dan Campbell. Brad Holmes has this too, by the way. I would love to sit down and play poker with either one of those men, because they're bad liars. They're telling you exactly what's what at all times. And I think you heard it from him. If you missed the post-game presser. You can grab it online. But there was part of Dan Campbell that's grateful for this. There's part of Dan Campbell that's happy for this loss because he knows he now has a hammer in the toolbox, and he can use it with this roster, with these young players, with everybody that's had sunshine piped up their backside since last January in Lambeau about how great they are and how good they're going to be and how they drafted this and they've got that and they free agented that, all of those things. Well, okay, now you came out and you peed down your leg in front of your home crowd. Now what? Now what do you do? There's Flounder's not wrong. There's some truth to that he's looking forward to being able to use this tape and hopefully light a fire under some folks. For sure.
You know, I got a text from my wife wanting to show off the hammer in my toolbox. She said, all the folks that are yelling about me drinking Truly, I got to show the pictures of all the rum I drank this weekend while I was away. If you were in the Slack, you saw that I did have quite a number. I spent 3 nights. I was talking like a pirate at the end of every night.
Are you getting like mani pedis and drinking daiquiris? What was that?
They were rum runners, my friend. It's the Long Island iced tea of the tropics.
So you say. And by the way, I'm watching the little comment feed to Michelle, who is wondering how I somehow have an auto-filling glass. No, Michelle, I'm just never far from the bottle. It's right here. I can fill my own. I used to be a bartender back in West Michigan back in the day, so I'm good. I can self-serve.
BZ Ski 81, friend from the chat, now in the chat here in YouTube, and he's in the Slack chat. This is something I think he brought up something that I'm glad it just rang some bells for me. I think John Fox needs to be on the headset during the games to help AG not have Jerry line up 25 yards off the wide receiver on the 3rd and 10. I think John Fox is the guy that steps in when AG gets thrown out in the street if things don't start working out. Not that AG is going to be thrown out in the street really, any day soon, but that's your guy, right? I mean, I kind of would rather have the Fox in that hen house than AG just today. We'll see how things turn out the next 2 weeks. But
again, I saw you blush when I mentioned Steve Wilks. You were flushed. I saw it. It was either some sort of menopausal heat flash or there's a little something under your collar. I heard everything you said about him in the offseason. He was on the market. You're like, hey, I'm not saying that I would just run AG in front of a train if it meant we could hire Steve Wilks, but I would run AG in front of a train if we could hire Steve. Yeah, so look, Dan Campbell's got to work this out. You can't just fire the secondary coach every year, right?
Yes.
You can't, because sooner or later, somebody else has got to be held into account. Those meetings are going to be I would love to be an autonomous drone in Allen Park tomorrow in the meeting room. It's going to be loud. It's going to be very loud.
Oh, yeah.
Bad words are going to be used. There will be foul language exchanged. 100%.
Jameson Hennessy. Yeah, but you're still drinking White Claws, Chris. Dude, my liver is sore to the touch, okay? Stop. I had a weekend.
That's not his liver, folks. Don't fall for that one.
Oh my goodness, good times. All right, I think on that note, we can say we've covered just about everything that needs to be covered, and we're about to uncover some things that need to be uncovered. Don't forget about us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast.
I'm not Riz. I'm not letting you hide behind clever wordplay and sloganeering. No. You've got that train thing that you run whenever James Houston makes a play that you're like, oh, no, there it is. Riz said he would never play in the league. Yeah, well, you may not remember what you said about Steve Wilks, but Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Get back in your buggy, Amish man. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Get access to the Slack.
Killington.
$5 a month gets you access to the Slack. It's a great time. Great folks. The live game feeds. This is your first year experiencing it, Mike. It is.
Yeah. And by the way, Ash is making fun of us in the Slack as we speak, going, "Oh, what did you guys tap out after 2 hours, you amateurs?" Like, no, I'm still on right now. I'm multitasking, bro.
Follow us on Twitter.
Send him back for whatever the metric equivalent of Ash is. I hope you got the exchange rate on him. Still paying him in toonies or whatever.
You just
sort of imaginary maple flavored money they're using up in that country.
I'd watch it. He's Florida man now.
He's Florinadian. That's a terrifying combination.
He says sorry when he stabs you in the back with a meth dipped knife.
No, he doesn't. He says sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast. On X Twitter, you can see at The Michael Gray, and on the Instagram and on all the places, The Michael Gray. DET Lions Podcast. If it's not that, it's Detroit Lions Podcast. You'll find us. It's a good place to hang out with us, pants free, and all Florida methy. Florida-y. Give us a call on Skype at Detroit Lions Podcast. That's all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast. Or on the Lions line at 248-782-8384. 248 Rub You Fug. I just love that. Jameson, the fact you took the nipple off the can doesn't make up for a White Claw, Chris. Jameson.
I saw that. I'm never being invited on the post-game show again, am I?
You're fine. Jameson, you talk with Super Chats and leave my White Claw alone.
A White Claw in a koozie, no less.
Well, I have special made. These are available at DetroitLionsPodcast.com/store.
You're a sweater and a pumpkin spice latte away from being a cul-de-sac wife.
Have you seen my Ugg boots yet?
I have. My wife loves them. She can't get enough of hers. Do you have a North Face vest?
This is
too warm down there.
My best behavior. Hey, check this out at the store too. Detroit Lions NFC Central Champs shirts. We didn't sell enough of those this week, and that's what happened with the Lions. You got to get that championship spirit in play. DetroitLionsPodcast.com/store.
Kentucky straight bourbon is my jam. It's not at all good in your nasal passages. That's not where it should go at all. Don't snort it. That's not how it's meant to be consumed.
Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast. What do we do when you do that, Gray? You got to steal the Riz line here. What happens if they subscribe to the podcast?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't log on myself. I don't know what goes on in that site. No, what does he say here? He's got all the super creepy lines. I feel uncomfortable when he says them. I don't want to say them either. There's a thing that happens with ears or something. I don't know. I don't know what goes on. You're gonna have to.
We used to say we'd come in your little box. See, just right there. There we were. All right. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna see you next time.
He's not kidding.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Detroit Lions podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, because we are 4 White Claws deep. And we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Thank you. We'll have a better week next week, I promise.